It's not because I'm superhuman, have superpowers. It's because I feel my body the right way.
Hi, I'm Leila Dehqan. I'm an Iranian living in London, and I have been vegan for over 6 years.
My name is Vanessa Espinoza. I've been vegan 20 years, and I was born and raised in Denver, Colorado. I'm vegan for the animals. It just kind of something I stumbled upon myself. One day it clicked for me that I was consuming animals. You know, my family growing up, we rescued everything and horses, dogs, cats. And one day I'm like, gosh, I love my pets so much, but for dinner I'm eating an animal. And it didn't make sense to me. I actually went vegetarian first. So I was about a year I was a vegetarian, and it took me a while to cut out milk and eggs because I was like every other person, every other bodybuilder. Oh my gosh, I got to have my a gram of protein for every pound I weigh. So I was worried I was not going to be able to build muscle. I was going to lose muscle mass. I played college basketball, so a lot of my colleagues and stuff, a lot of people didn't understand it. And, people made fun of me. I got a ton of ridicule, whatever, but my focus was the animals. And no matter what anybody said to me, all I could care about, think about is saving the animals. My mom and dad, they were such animal lovers. And like I said, we rescued everything. We never got from a breeder. We always rescued animals from terrible situations. We had rescued horses, everything. And, I mean, even though my parents weren't vegan, they're the ones that really showed me love and compassion and to respect all living beings. And, kids don't get enough of that. We see nothing but violence and, from movies to video games to music, everything. And it's sad, because kids are innocent and they're born pure. And, as they grow, the world, disrupts their innocence.
How can we help them? What can we do as a community? Because I feel like the people in the Middle East, they eat too much meat, and the meat consumption is actually increasing. So that worries me.
Wow.
And I just think, how could we actually reach those people?
It starts with our youth. It's really difficult to get the older community to change. Our grandparents are set in their ways. They don't care. They just want what tastes good. I really think it's hitting the elementary schools, the junior highs, the high schools, the colleges, and teaching our youth. It's all about education. And that's where it starts. I do as much as I can, getting out in the community, talking to people, social media, to educate people and lead by example. I want people to think of vegans as strong and fit and healthy, not the skinny, weak, what that stereotype, I mean,
Yeah.
what it used to be, or, actually still is today. People still think that, oh, they're just skinny and they're weak and they're frail and they have no muscle. Well, I want the exact opposite. I want people to think of vegans as strong, fit, healthy, muscular. I want people to look at me like, oh, I want to be vegan like her. I want to be plant-based like her.
So you mentioned that, you saw some benefits, some health benefits. Can you tell me a little bit about it, especially because, you're into bodybuilding, exercise. What health benefits did you actually, see?
Gosh, everything. There were so many. It was endless. I had more energy. I felt better overall. My skin was better. My nails grew faster. My hair, was shinier. I didn't get sick as often. Like I was recovering better in the gym. And at being an athlete, I wanted that edge over my competition. And that was it. I felt like I found the key to happiness, the key to life. And I was just killing the competition because I was able to recover. My muscles weren't as sore. It was just like, it was a total game changer for me.
A new study came out looking at uh, protein intake, whether it be strictly from plants or animals, and strength and size outcomes. And while this may not be an added benefit to a plant-based diet, they found that there were no differences in strength outcomes or size outcomes between the meat eaters and the vegans after 12 weeks, 12 weeks of training. which was really great because that's usually one of the questions that a lot of people have and concerns. But as far as benefits to a plant-based diet, well, one of the areas where I do think there may be the biggest benefit is with endurance. There was a study out of last year that looked at vegan athletes and omnivorous athletes. And again, they measured strength, size outcomes, they measured endurance outcomes, and there was no difference in the strength or size outcomes. But with regard to actual submaximal endurance, the vegans did better. A lot of athletes who are adopting more plant-centered diets are claiming, faster recovery and that, and sure, that may be a factor of lower levels of inflammation and other benefits, added nutrition that plant-based diet may have to offer. But that's just an area that I'm really excited for research to come out for in the next, hopefully 3, 4, 5 years.
And I don't care why people go vegan. People will say, oh, I went vegan for my health, or I went vegan for this reason. It doesn't matter. We're all saving animals in the end. I get a lot of people that, hey, I'm not feeling good. All this meat is making me sick, and all this whey protein and egg whites and all this stuff. And yeah, it's amazing how many non-vegans that I've helped, transition and even just go vegan-ish, not even, and that's okay too. Anytime that someone can consume less meat, less dairy is a win. You think of every holiday, every birthday party, every event, funeral, wedding, whatever, food is always the main focus, and the main focus is always meat, and it's hard. And, people ask me that all the time, like, what do you do if you go to an event? Well, I always bring a vegan dish, for people, and I don't tell them it's vegan. And all the time, people love it. It's showing people different types of foods and not telling them, and introducing them to, foods that they've never had before. For me, I'm not in that situation anymore because everybody in my life is vegan, but it is a tough, yeah, I know, it's awesome. But that is a tough thing when you're around family and friends and, meat is the center and you don't want to offend anybody. Show people, hey, you can eat the same thing, whatever culture you are from. You can veganize any meal, any recipe. My family, my grandma owned one of the best Mexican restaurants in Colorado. And I have all of her recipes, and we veganized everything. If you like a certain dish, you can veganize anything. It's so simple. Everybody eats out. It's crazy to me. Very few people cook anymore. Eating out, there's so much added salt, sugar, oil, and eating at home, you can just eat so much better, in my opinion, and so much cheaper. I cook everything. I love eating at home because I know it's in my food.
I know you're talking about your refined grains and your added sugars and your oils and that kind of thing. And from that perspective, I mean, the added, say, saturated fat that you might get in coconut oil rich products, or certainly in animal products, that can lead to poorer cardiovascular health down the line, poorer blood flow. There's potential there for that to negatively impact outcomes. There's plenty of adverse effects with inflammation. Maybe that hinders recovery to some degree or not. Again, as I mentioned, that's kind of an area where we do need more research. But certainly maximizing our nutrition through whole foods is going to be beneficial for making sure we're hitting our nutrient targets, because that's the biggest issue. If you're hitting those nutrient targets, there might not be benefit to going even higher. But if you're falling short of those nutrient targets, especially given how many nutrients are important for energy production, like all our B vitamins, for example, that can be a detriment. And that's why we want to focus more on the whole foods, because every time you're eating these more processed foods that are low in fiber, low in overall micronutrients, you're not eating something that provides you with much better nutrition.
Hi, my name is Steve McCoy. I'm the founder of the Raw McCoy online platform. I live in London, originally of Jamaican parents, and I've been vegan for 4 years.
I tell people, I wake up at 4 o'clock every single day. I train twice a day, almost every single day. And it's not because I'm superhuman, have superpowers. It's because I feel my body the right way. We don't put crappy gas in our car. Everybody's worried about putting, the right type of gas in your car. But every single day, meal after meal, people are putting junk in their body. And it's amazing that our bodies can still run. They're so resilient. But imagine feeding your body healthy and how amazing you'll feel. Everything you put in your body matters. And I'm a big believer in that. It affects your mental state, your heart. Heart disease is the #1 killer in America, and it affects, my people. The Black and brown community suffers so much. It's heartbreaking to me because, you go to Whole Foods, for example, okay, and it's $20 for a salad. You can go to McDonald's and feed your whole family for $10. So you can see, why, it's an issue. The system sets you up to fail. And that's what I want to do, is to educate, my people and show them that you can prevent and cure any disease with, a simple plant-based diet. It's education, is teaching people how to eat and eating simple. A lot of people think they have to have, like you said, these big elaborate meals and recipes and stuff. For me, I just put food together, simple foods, and it doesn't have to be expensive. Veganism can be expensive if you're buying the specialty products like the fake cheeses and the meats, and all the, the specialty foods. But you know what? It doesn't have to be. Beans and rice you can buy in bulk anywhere are so cheap. It actually is cheaper, to eat plant-based than it is buying meat. I mean, meat is so expensive. Fish, pork, chicken, beef, all of that is crazy expensive. Tofu is so super cheap. Frozen fruits and vegetables are very affordable. It does take a little bit of work, and it takes a little bit of shopping around. For example, going to Costco or Sam's Club, they sell that stuff in bulk, but people don't want to, take the time to shop for it. It doesn't have to be expensive. Teaching people how to shop and how to eat, that's really where it starts. Since the Game Changers movie has came out, it's been a lot of men. I've met so many guys at the gym, clients. Oh, I saw that movie, and they're really, it really opened their eyes. So lately it's been a lot of men, which is great.
I thought the Game Changers made waves for the plant-based movement. It had a huge impact, and actually my favorite part wasn't even the movie. My favorite part was when James Wilkes actually went on the Joe Rogan podcast and debated Chris Kresser around the claims that were made in the film. That is where, because there was so much debate going back and forth when that movie came out. I mean, people who enjoy their animal products aren't going to like it. And so seeing James defend it, and defend it so well on Joe Rogan, was really nice to see, especially given how much of the anti-vegan kind of mentality comes out of the Joe Rogan podcast.
Such a great film. I mean, it was so well done. And I think it was like one of the top documentaries right now.
Yes. I have to say, when I watched the movie, I was a bit disappointed because there weren't enough women.
I agree.
I would have liked to see more women.
There wasn't really any, strength women athletes,
James actually said that they wanted to squash the whole like meat is masculine, that whole kind of mentality that there's there, because females are typically more open to shifting towards a plant-based diet, right? It's the men who are a little more kind of stuck in their ways.
Growing up, there wasn't anybody like me that was vegan. It was all white males, and kids aren't gonna make that connection if they don't see somebody like them. And that's important, and I want to be the best example I can, for the young people, especially the girls, that, hey, I can grow up and I can be strong, I can be fit, I can be a boxer, I can play football, I can do any sport a guy can do. So I played a Division I basketball. I was a high school All-American basketball player, one of the top 10 point guards in the country. It was my life. I just loved basketball more than anything. I got drafted to play professional basketball. I didn't go that route because my father died of colon cancer, and so it totally changed my career path. After my basketball career, I got into boxing, and I became a 3-time Colorado Golden Glove state champion. My dad, my uncle, and my grandpa were all professional boxers. So it was kind of like the family sport. That's all I did growing up was boxing. So I don't box anymore. Now I'm a professional power lifter. I love it. It's really a fun sport. It's really challenging. I was able to get my pro card, my very first meet. And it's different. It was a challenge for me, something totally different, because I've always done, team sport, even boxing. It's an individual sport, but just so different than anything that I've ever done before. I tell my clients, female clients especially, like, weight training is the single best thing you can do for your bone, your bone density, your health. Like you said, empowering women, making you feel strong. I mean, there's no other exercise, in my opinion, that can do what strength training can do to the body. I mean, you can sculpt your body any way you want to. I just love it. And then with a combination of eating plant-based, you don't have to get osteoporosis. You don't have to get all of these diseases. All these diseases are, pretty much preventable.
And you can think about it with the classic kind of use it or lose it mentality, right? We need to stress our bones. You need to put weight on your bones so that you get that compression that you can build off that. Now, the kind of idea of weight training might be a bit daunting for some individuals if they've never really done too much of it. But what we want to focus on is weight-bearing exercise. It doesn't need to be weightlifting. So even walking is a weight-bearing exercise. You're carrying your own body weight, right? You're putting force through your legs, your hips, even up your spine, because you're holding yourself upright. And that's going to help a little bit there. Of course, for upper body, we might want to do something, even push-ups, anything to put that force through your bones. And it is one of the best ways to maintain bone mineral density long term. But on the other hand, there's a lot of individuals who might be cyclists or swimmers. These are activities where you're not really going to have a large impact on bone mineral density, because when you're swimming, you're floating, right? You're not forcing any weight onto your bones. When you're cycling, you're sitting, kind of the same deal. So we do want some kind of activity where you are putting weight through your skeleton. And that can be, like I said, it can be as simple as walking. You could be jogging. It could be squatting. It could be lunging. It could be push-ups. There are so many different ways to do it.
Everyone, I am Simo, animal rights activist from Morocco, and I have been vegan for 5 years.
I mean, in a perfect world, everybody would be plant-based, right? We could solve, world hunger, climate change, every disease, heart disease, high blood pressure, cancer, everything. In my lifetime, I don't know if we'll ever see it, but all I hope is that every single year that, as not just in the United States, but as the world, is that we consume less and less meat. That people are starting to get it. I feel like, and again, it's just education with people. And it is getting better. I mean, every year numbers keep declining. Dairy farms keep shutting down. However, the government keeps bailing all these big, ag businesses out. So it's tough. It's a tough battle. Social media helps a ton, getting the information out there to people. And that's what we just have to keep doing, is spreading the information. And for myself, being an athlete, that's where my platform is. Mine is a little bit different than, an actor, or, mine is through fitness and through exercise, leading by example. And I wish more celebrities and athletes, would speak out more and be more vocal about it. And I know there's some, but I think it could be better, because there's so many athletes that have such a big platform and are not using it, to help. You still see athletes on TV that are promoting milk and are promoting. I saw a commercial with an ex-professional basketball player, and he's promoting Wendy's, fast food, and it blows me away, because that's what our youth is looking at. They look up to these athletes. They see that LeBron James is drinking milk and eating a burger. They're going to do so.
I find social media is very important, and we should really make use of it. But there are celebrities who go vegan, they make the headlines, and then they change their minds. I'm sure you heard of the latest. So what those vegans, vegan celebrities?
Absolutely. And I know exactly what you're referring to. It would be fine if they wouldn't make such a big deal about it before, and talking about, animal rights, this, and, people that are not vegan or this and that, and they're so one-sided, you know, they're all about the animals, and then they flip the switch, and I hate that. It's frustrating for me because I think you're right. I think it's, you know, more harm than good. And especially the one right now saying that, you know, she didn't have brain function, you know, her brain was foggy and stuff. Well, you know, and then what that does is other people hear that because she's very popular, you know, very well known, and they're going to be like, oh, well, yeah, I'm not feeling very good. And she has such a big voice, and people are going to follow her, right? You know, whether it's good or bad. And it's very frustrating. Hire the best plant-based doctor, you know, and figure out, you know what, it could be from all the alcohol you've drank or all the drugs you've done in your entire life. What, you know, you're not sleeping well. It could be from depression. There's so many other factors that people don't think about why this person's not feeling good. I wish she would have said that. I wish she would have said, you know, just something that I want to do. Okay, fine. That's fine. No big deal. Whatever. If that's something you want to do, but don't say that you didn't feel good. And, you know, you probably see the same things I do. Oh yeah, I eat so healthy and it's horrendous, you know? And again, it just goes back to education, and you know, you go back to these people and you're like, yeah, no wonder you feel bad. You feel crappy and you have no energy. You can't get through your workout and you don't sleep well. Is because they just put nothing but garbage in their body. I'm very particular what I put in my body. Like I said, I believe everything you put in your body matters. For me, you know, the bulk of my nutrition comes from fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, grain, tofu, tempeh. Like I said, it's everything is you put in your body is fuel, right? It runs that engine. And the better you eat, the better you feel, the better you look. You know, it's very simple. And I'm very particular on, you know, people ask me all the time, do I count macros? Do I care about that? I don't. I count nutrients. You know, I'm focused on the micronutrients. Is this meal helping me or is this meal hurting me? And that is the biggest thing. You know, I'm going to choose the food that is more nutrient dense than the other. And that's what I really try to teach my clients, is to focus on nutrient dense foods. Don't worry about the protein. You know, I don't care how much protein I get. I could care less. Still in the fitness industry, it's very, you know, you got to have, you know, that protein for every pound you weigh, you know, and I did that when I first went vegan, and it just, I wasn't feeling good. You know, it's a big myth. You know, you just focus on getting the right nutrients and your body's going to thank you.
Micronutrients are super important. Like I mentioned, for especially a lot of B vitamins, B12 being one that's really important for energy production that you might need to supplement, particularly if you're on a plant-based diet. But we want to make sure we're getting enough of all of these vitamins to help fuel activity. I mean, if you're deficient in, say, magnesium, you can end up with muscle cramps and that. Now, that's not a problem on a plant-based or plant-centered diet at all. It might be a problem on a carnivore diet, but really, we want to be making sure that we're hitting these because they're just really they're involved in just about every form of energy production in our body. And on top of that, we do have iron to look out for as well, especially in female athletes. Female athletes may be at higher risk of iron deficiency or anemia. And you know, the dark leafy greens, legumes, they can be good sources of iron to make sure we're hitting those targets.
I just saw your tattoo.
Which one?
That one, but yeah, I just saw another one. So
Oh yeah.
about them. Which ones?
Yeah, so this one says born free.
With all the different poses, is that what?
Yeah, so it's like an elephant, a polar bear, a wolf, a penguin, a cow, just all different animals. You know, animals are born free until humans exploit them. I've got 269. This is animal liberation, and for people that don't know what 269 is, it was the number of a calf that was saved from slaughter, and you know how they have the tag. That was the number of the calf. So that number represents your solidarity towards all the animals that have been slaughtered. You know, I'm always doing something, you know, to help the animals, and I want to do more. I mean, my goal is one day is to have some land and to save animals from slaughter. I mean, that is my ultimate goal in life. It's not fancy cars or fancy this, or, you know, it's all about helping the animals. Probably my breakfast. Again, so I do quinoa for breakfast too.
All right.
So I do a cup of quinoa. I throw some peanut butter on it or almond butter. I slice a banana, some chia, some hemp, and some cinnamon. I cook it, so it's warm. Or, if I keep it in the fridge, I will put it in the microwave and heat it up or on the stove or whatever. So yeah, it's warm. You put the peanut butter on top of it so it melts, the banana, chia, hemp, and then cinnamon, and it's awesome. Keeps you satiated, all morning long. It's high in protein, high in nutrients, high in fiber, which is, so important. And it tastes great. And it's just so simple and cheap to make.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.